Yeah, I just wanted to share that a lot of the times we feel like, when we even dip our finger in the masculine, it has to all be about the masculine. Or when we go into our feminine, it has to all be about the feminine. I feel like as new paradigm leaders, we're just trying to figure out this balance. And I feel like once you understand both and you're able, and it takes time, right? Like just to be gentle with yourself and to ease on into it and be like, okay, where am I too much in my feminine? Where am I too much in my masculine? How do I create more of a balance? How do I create more clarity? And things just unravel.
Welcome to the Seeing in the Dark podcast, the podcast for the women of the ancient futures. Women that see beyond eyes and know beyond mind and are here to make a change from a deep communion with the mystery of life. Seeing in the Dark is about walking paths that have not been walked before and daring to show up for the mission and dream life that is knocking on your door. My name is Nicole Nyima Costerus, mystic, medium, initiated priestess, and here to take you into the mysteries of purpose, power, ritual, and intuition. May you embody your own unique essence so deeply that your vibration naturally teaches, inspires, and assists others. Let's dive in. In today's episode, I will share with you one of the over 20 masterclasses of the She Who Stands for a New World Global Online Retreat. An online experience with over 20 workshops, masterclasses, and interviews from oracles, wisdom keepers, astrologers, dancers, facilitators, and just a really beautiful variety of people that show up for the world they want to live in. This retreat has been created from the intention to, in these times of change and crisis in the world that can bring up fear and doubt about where we are going as a world, to stand up and show up for your mission, for your business, for the message that you are here to bring for the world. So this global online retreat, She Who Stands for a New World, is there to help you connect to the core of your essence, the heart of your mission, and the soul of your business. So enjoy today's masterclass. If you feel inspired to purchase the whole bundle of over 20 masterclasses, interviews, and workshops, you can purchase the whole bundle for only 47 euros. Link is below this episode. And for now, I wish you an incredible time with today's speaker. Much love. Today, I'm here with Juliet Lippman, and Juliet is a feminine leadership coach who is here to lift heart-led leaders to the top with mindset mastery, business codes, and luxe pleasure aligned to their unique energetic design. Today, Juliet is here to talk about 3 codes to growing your social media, even with a small following, in your juicy feminine business. And I remember, Juliet, I want to just first of all warmly welcome you here. But I remember when I started following you that I was amazed with the following, which was like a few thousand followers, with the amount of engagement that you had with your audience. And that was something I hadn't seen before. So I felt super inspired, and that led me to working with you because I found myself having lots and lots of resistance to being fully present on my Instagram and having consistency and joy in it. And I feel working with you really changed that. I feel I found my joy. I found my lightness in being more present on social media. So can you share with us, what is your secret there? Well, first of all, I just want to say witnessing you now with your social media is a pleasure. You don't feel the need to post every day. You got out of that rat race, actually. And when you feel inspired, you really share with your open heart, and it's so magnetic. So I just want to really give you kudos. You've really stepped into it, and it's been beautiful. So yeah, I'd love to share that with the ladies that are watching this, what Nicole did and what I teach my women to do, so that you can pick up on the pieces that resonate throughout the ones that don't. And so you can start to play and have fun with your social media, despite how many followers you have. Because the analogy that I love, and maybe you've heard this analogy before, Nicole, but let's say you have even 10 people over for dinner. Those people signify also your 10 Instagram followers that engage with your work, right? They like your stuff. They comment on your stories. They comment on your posts. They share your reels, let's say. And so they're over
at your house at dinner, you have them over, but you're so focused on, will other people come in? So, will other people come to the dinner party? Like these 10 people aren't enough. So you're outside of your door and you're like, hello, can someone come? Like, can someone please? Like, I don't feel like there's enough people at my house. I want to bring in more people. And so what about those 10 people that really are like your diehard fans that truly freaking love your work? What about them? And so what I always tell my ladies is like, turn around and come back into your house, come back into your social media and be like, hi, I see you. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm making this content from my heart and I'm so happy you're receiving me, right? It starts with that gratitude and engaging with those people that are already in your world. And then from there, the energy is different, right? Behind your words, behind the way you show up, and then others come. And that's like the magnetic feminine piece.
I love this example. I remember actually you sharing this with me when we worked together. And I feel so many women that I come across in my work, they say, but I don't have so many followers. I only have 100 followers, or I only have 200 followers. When actually that's a lot of people when you would have them in your living room, right? So I really love that you bring this shift from I don't have a lot of followers and I need more, and that energy of need that then actually repels, like more than that it magnetizes, into this abundance of, wow, if they would be here at my dining table, that would be a pretty full table.
Right. How many people did you have on your email list?
Yeah, like 1,500.
1,500. Yeah. And like by industry standards, that's considered small.
Yeah.
You were able to convert so many people, and because you engaged with them, because you cared about them, because you had grown this over, a few years. And so the numbers don't matter. It's the intention and the heartfelt purpose.
Yeah. And it shows that with a small audience, you can, like what Women of Ancient Futures did, grow to a multiple 6-figure business, and that's possible with a small, like, so to speak, small following.
And I think the difference is your attitude, Nicole. Like, never for one moment did I feel like you were taking your 1,000 followers for granted or your 1,000 people on your email list for granted. You still showed up with power and with intention. And well, it got the attention of a lot of ladies that were on that list. So I never sensed that you were feeling like it wasn't enough. A big piece. So for women who are feeling like, oh, but I only have 50 followers, I only have 100 followers. It's not like Nicole has 1,000. Still, the numbers don't matter. It matters about the intention, the energy you put out there, and reconnecting to why you're doing this, reconnecting to, wow, how many women can I touch with this? And how can their lives change? And think about the ripple effect in the bigger picture, and then come in with that energy.
Yeah, beautiful. So right before we started this session, you were sharing about some percentages that you work with. And you were also very much sharing about the masculine side of business. Because I think we can see this big wave of feminine business and connecting deeper to the feminine and feminine left and right. But what about the masculine? So can you share a bit more about those percentages of feminine and masculine business that you work with?
Yeah, I'd love to. And I think that's such a good point because we all want to work in feminine business. A lot of us, especially those who are healers and are more emotionally sensitive and work with their senses. And so a lot of women resonate more with the feminine. And the problem with being in the feminine all the time is that we can become very swampy. There's an inertia feeling. There's wishful thinking. There's a lot going on there. So I'm going to break it down in terms of like the 3 major percentages with a healthy balance between masculine and feminine so that women can see, wow, I can have a juicy feminine business with a small following and still have a balance. It doesn't feel like I'm going to burn out or that I have to do all the back end technical stuff, like all the things that like repel healers and light workers. Or maybe you're watching this and you're like, that doesn't repel me. So good for you. Happy. And that's beautiful. So how I would like to break down the masculine is, for me, it gets split up into 2, 50% masculine, 50% feminine. Within the masculine, I like to feel like it's 20% mindset and 30% the business marketing. And then the other 50% is the feminine, the confidence and the pleasure and all the good stuff. So when we talk about the 20% of mindset, what I'm looking for here for a lot of my clients is to understand really like what's going on in your subconscious. What are the thoughts you're having? Because your thoughts create the reality of what's going to take place. So even about the small following, are you telling yourself, Oh no, like even every time you post, you still have the thought of, oh, but no one's going to see it anyways and no one's going to buy from me, right? It's like even that thought is going to manifest and play out. And so a beautiful practice here is to sometimes I feel like mindset work is too serious. Like people are like, oh my God, I need to change my subconscious and I need to do all these things. It's like, let's have fun with it and let's play with it. Let's play with your shadows, right? So let's say your shadow is like, oh, no one's going to come to me because it's a new business, or no one's going to come to me because my content isn't magnetic, or whatever stories you have playing with you, or no one's going to give me money because I have money blocks. Instead of seeing it as like this horrible thing that you need to fix, why not playing with it and playing with it in terms of like being silly or fun with yourself? I think a lot of people feel like shadow work and going to like the depths of why you're thinking these thoughts can be so dark and heavy. But when you play with it in terms of kinky affirmations, basically what you're saying is you can look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you're so naughty. You're such a naughty girl for thinking that no one's gonna watch you. Oh, do you enjoy that? Like, do you like making yourself feel miserable? Oh, like such a bad girl. Like you're so naughty when you do that, right? Like just playing with it to be like, oh my God, I am bad. Oh shit, like I am doing that. What that does is actually you're looping around a neuronal pathway that's telling you don't have enough followers or it's not good enough. But now you're creating a new neuronal pathway, something more light, something more playful. And it's taking you out of the same loop, which is creating the same results and the same outcomes and the lack of abundance. And so by switching the narrative, you're creating a new narrative.
Mm.
That's more aligned towards abundance, something that's more just playful.
Yeah. And I remember what I really liked about it is that you, instead of like pasting a new belief on top of the like limiting one, you kind of lean into the limiting belief and you start to like feel the lightness and the funniness of it actually.
Yes,
Yeah.
instead of being scared of it, like, oh no, I have this horrible thought. It's like, how can I play with the horrible thought?
Yeah. And I love that question of, are you enjoying it? Because I feel that for many of us, there is a part that feels comfortable with this belief, right? And a part that almost in a painful way enjoys it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's like you can say it's our masochistic side, but we're so
Yes.
used to it. We don't know the difference between pain and pleasure, right? It's the same chemical that gets released into our body. And
Yeah.
so we oftentimes feel like it's pleasure because we get pleasure out of the pain. And so what I recommend for ladies watching this for the mindset piece is like really start tracking, like stalking what you're telling yourself around your social media, your following, the money coming in, the clients, and start to reframe it. Like write down on one side of the paper, writing, oh, I don't feel like anyone's going to come. And then on the other side of the paper, write the kinky side of it. Like, oh, I get kind of turned on when I think that no one's going to come. There's this little bit of pain that I enjoy. And so just playing with that and seeing like, how can I laugh about this? How can I shift this belief? And something else I recommend is doing a hypnosis, maybe even getting a customized hypnosis based on like what thoughts you're having by a hypnotist. That's really helped me see a whole different reality. So when we're talking about 30% of the business, there are two things that I love to do. The first one is talking about the archetypes, and the second one is talking about messaging, being really clear with your messaging. So the first part is the brand archetypes, and that's thinking like, what's my brand identity? What energies are flowing through me? How can I have fun in my brand? How can I show up as like all of me? And so I love to at least think about 3 archetypes that you really feel are part of your personality and part of your multidimensionalism and part of your brand. So you could have a more serious side and include the priestess. You know, she's very focused and she's channeling from the divine. And so sometimes you show up and you're like, I just had this brilliant idea and I want to share this with you, right? Or you can be sometimes more of the maiden and want to share your open heart and your vulnerability and your sensitivity. And so that could be another one of your brand archetypes. So sometimes you come on and you're like, babes, I just had this beautiful session with a client. I'd love to share with you what that felt like for her and what the shifts were. And then you can think of another archetype, like the erotic mother who's holding more space for those around her and really nurturing, but not needing to save those around her. So you can play with those and see like, what do I resonate with? What's my flavor? What's my essence? How do I play with it? How can I give it its own unique name? When does she want to show up? When does she want to chill and not show up? How do I respect all of my archetypes and my energy's boundaries? And so that creates a new way of showing up on social media because it's no longer just like, like, oh, it's me day after day, And sometimes we can get sick of it, right? And so this creates a new way to play and to have fun so that the world can see all of your beautiful flavors because people want to feel you.
Beautiful. Can you share some of your archetypes that you feel come through in on your social media or in your work?
I definitely have the maiden because I've resisted the maiden for so long. My maiden has been in the shadow. I've actually had a closed heart and wasn't always so open. And so I'd kind of shield myself and put up walls, but just be like, oh, yes, I'm Juliet, And people were like, I can't feel you, girl. So the maiden is one that I've recently integrated, and I've learned to open my heart and be vulnerable and share elegantly, which I'm going to talk about in the feminine part of this. But sharing elegantly just means not sharing everything that's going on in my life. Like, I just walked my dog and then I made breakfast and then I'm sitting here and you can share that if you want, if that feels authentic, but for me, that doesn't always feel authentic. So it's for you to feel into. So elegant vulnerability for me is like, how do I share a moment of like truth, maybe where I'm feeling a bit nervous or I feel like I'm hiding, and how can I share that in a way that I have already processed? Because when I already process it, then I come out with a very clear, pristine like idea instead of like this jumbled thing like, oh, I'm nervous about this, but and people feel very confused when you show up that way because you're confused about your own process. So
yeah, beautiful. I feel also inspired now. I'm like, wow, what are my archetypes? I definitely had my masculine coming through, my dark masculine lately on my social media. So I had this post about women, I love your cogs, and just I can feel there's more that wants to come through there. And I think it's also connected to like, yeah, the work with women that is happening in the world right now that is so feminine focused, that there is this excitement inside of me to work more with the masculine and specifically the dark masculine, that has us stand for what we believe in. I think that gave birth to this event also, like the she who stands, like erected from the ground for what she believes in. And that's definitely an archetype that is coming through strongly lately. And I think one that I would love to include more would be a bit more like spontaneous, that is maybe not so serious, but that makes more fun or jokes, because I have that very much in my daily life. And I would say in my events, or maybe on my social media, I can like bring her forward more as well.
That's a beautiful intention, because I love that part of you as well. And that's another part that people love to connect with, because the dark masculine is like, whoa, it's like, she's here. She has a message. Listen, and then the little side is the way to balance it all out and to show that like, because you're not just the dark masculine, you're also not just playful. Like you have all these different flavors. Yeah, I think that's beautiful. I can't wait to see what you do with all this.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. So, and the second piece of the business that I'd love to share is creating a very clear message, because a lot of the times us entrepreneurs, we get so excited with the modalities in which we teach. So we're like, I do hypnosis, I do sex magic, I do all these things. And it's like, but our clients are not here to buy the tools. They're here to hear what their desires are. Right? They need to connect with their desires in order to understand, oh, okay, like this person is actually talking about something that I would love, that it would expand me and it would make me feel great. Okay, that sounds great. I often see this a lot, and I see this with entrepreneurs online, that they focus too much on how they do it instead of like why and what they're doing. And the how it's important when people dive deeper, but it's not the thing that sparks people.
That made a huge shift in my work as well, when I started to get more clear on what becomes available in the women that work with me, like what opens up inside of them. What are they walking away with? What are they letting go of? That helped me so much. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Like that would be even a beautiful writing prompt. Like what expands and lights up the woman or the people I work with? What are they saying goodbye to? What do they want to shed? Right? All these pieces are, and some people say, don't talk about the parts they want to shed. Just talk about the light marketing. I say, talk about both. I say, do whatever you want. But as long as you're speaking into what you've actually heard from your ideal client, like what actually came out of their mouth, not what you think they want. I think this is very important. So, even doing like free discovery calls, or if you're already at a stage where, you have clients coming in, just creating a separate document on your Google Drive and just start typing in whenever you hear them talk about like, but I really want this. This is really what feels amazing for me. This is really what will light me up, to be like, aha, like, oh my God, that is what they want. Beautiful. And I can offer that. If you really stand in integrity with like, I can offer that, that's what I do, then beautiful. Like, use what's in front of you.
Yeah. And I think we tend to overlook this, what becomes available in our clients, because like for me, it was so normal to see that they feel themselves more courageous, or that there's a lot of clarity coming through, or for me, it was normal, so I was like, yeah, what is the big deal? We tend to overlook. The same with our essence. I feel the qualities that we carry very much in our essence, we tend to overlook them because they're so natural for us, right? But that's actually where our deepest gifts lie. Like it's in the things we overlook so easily in ourselves and in our work that are one of the most important core pillars of the work that we bring into the world.
Right. I love that, because so often we're trying to chase the next certification or the next thing, or look like this coach or do that. And we're totally missing, the gifts we came in to this world with.
Yes.
But we're meant to amplify them. And sometimes it feels like, I was just on a call recently with my own coach, and she was saying, you work really well with the shadows. I was like, oh no, like I've kind of rejected her saying this. I'm like, I don't want that. You're going to say that because it's kind of dark and it comes a bit too easily for me. I was like, then that means that I'm on track. Like it had charge when she said it. So whenever you feel like there's energy moving inside of you and someone says like, you're actually good at that, right? Like depending on your human design, if you're into human design, like projectors and generators, we often need someone to like hold up a mirror. And so it's nice when you're in front of someone who you trust to be like, this is actually what you're really good at. And to then see if that feels good. And if there's energy moving inside of you, like, oh shit, that feels like that could be really on point. And lean into that and explore what's there.
So the business part, it's the archetypes, like what are the flavors that want to come true. And then there is the piece of the messaging to see what becomes available in the people I work with, instead of over focusing on the techniques that you're certified to offer.
Right. And then also finding like your unique sauce and not trying to like get all the certifications, but come back to self-trust, get someone to mirror it back to if you feel like you need some support with that, like hiring a coach or having a trusted friend to talk to you about this. So yeah, that's the business piece. And just one last note on the masculine, I have to say, something that really wakes up feminine leaders, including myself, is no joke, a cold shower in the morning. As you know, we're like pulling the tarot cards, we're making the teas, we're meditating, we're using the jade egg, and we can do that all day. What I would invite you beautiful leaders to tap into is what will help me step into like taking those actions, working on my mindset, working on the business aspects, and really taking ownership of it before or after, depending on the flow, your feminine comes in. Because it's really important. For me, it's a cold shower. I'm like, holy shit. Good morning. Let's take some action. I needed to wake up.
And I think also here, it's really important for the women to check, like, where am I anchored mostly, right? Because for me, until a few years ago, I was anchored mostly in the masculine. So for me, it was very important to lean more into the feminine, even when resistance would come up, even when it feels uncomfortable or unfamiliar, to really lean into that edge of what feels uncomfortable, and the other way around. Because I know also there's women who are very comfortable in their feminine and they like to flow and just go, like easily. And then it might be really uncomfortable to lean into that edge where there's more structure and focus and standing and action coming in.
But it depends on where you have contraction. And actually the resistance is your invitation to be like, ooh, what's there? And I have a lot of feminine leaders who come to me and they're like, I don't feel like showing up today. I have contraction, or I don't want to share about my offer because I have contraction. It's like, it's very important to look at the mindset pieces. Like, is it actually in alignment? And then once you realize it is in alignment, this is what I want to do, to know that contraction is normal. It's normal. It's not always going to feel really good. And I feel like that's a taboo in the industry, because a lot of feminine business coaches and leaders talk about like, it needs to feel good. It needs to flow. It needs to, and it's like, sometimes it doesn't always feel good, because that's our edge. That's our learning experience. So to lean into it in a way, still hold your nervous system. You still feel safe. You're getting the support you need.
And I think that's also the point where we can then truly feel if it resonates or not, instead of having the assumption about it of like, oh, this doesn't feel good, so I'm not going to do it. To lean into that edge and to explore your uncomfortability. And then after a while of trying that out, having the ability to so much more clearly discern if it truly resonates or not.
I love that. Yeah, because sometimes you only know until you try it, right? We can sit
Yes.
in analysis paralysis all day and get all the opinions of coaches and everyone, but we don't know if it's really gonna, come through, if it's really the thing for you. And you will know inside of your body. So I love that piece. So we already touched upon it. Something that I really love from feminine leadership is this idea of, okay, there's so many things I can say, but I just want to crystallize it to one point. I sense that a lot of times there's a big idea around showing up online, right? We're talking about showing up in your business on social media with not a big following. And there's a lot of contraction around that. And so what can happen is we can feel ashamed. We can feel not good enough. We can feel all these feelings, right? And the contraction, which will lead us to not showing up, right? This feminine inertia that we spoke about. Or on the flip side, which is another shadow of the feminine, which I've seen in women, is this idea of that someone recently told me, feminine manipulation. Feminine manipulation. I don't know if you've heard of this, Nicole.
Yes.
So many ways to do it, but what I have seen is that, and I've been guilty of it before in my past, and I'm still working on it. It's a shadow of mine, is when you want to get a result so badly that you'll feel like you'll say or do anything to get that client or get the result or get the followers. But then you're really not in alignment with like who you actually are and and all of your magic and all of the flavors and all the things we've been talking about up until this point. And so when you come in with that energy of like trying to do so much, trying to be something else, it kills the magnetism because people can sense like, there's a different energy behind her words. Yeah, her mindset maybe is on point and her messaging is on point. Her brand pillars are on point or whatever, everything you've done. But if you have this energy inside of you that's like, I need to make this work, it's going to feel icky. And I sense a lot of the times, like feminine leaders that I speak with, they've done all the masculine stuff. And when it comes to the feminine and like being in the energy, they'll bypass in a way by doing the sex magic practices or doing the meditation, but there's still this element. So what I would invite everyone to think into is like, where do I feel like I'm trying to get the result when I'm just focusing on the result instead of like the process, instead of my joy and excitement for actually what I'm doing. Yeah. And it doesn't always have to feel good, by the way. We don't always have to be like, I love social media, but to just be honest and real. And so one of my favorite practices that I'd love to share with you guys here is mirror work. So mirror work is just like, I have this mirror here and I often stand in the morning, I get fully naked despite everything. And I just look at myself for like 5 minutes. And sometimes tears come down because I realize I haven't been true to myself, or all these things can come up, and to just let it come up. Let all the emotions come up. Really see yourself, really see all of you. Because, when it comes to social media, we put on filters, we care about our followers. We're so in our heads about how we should look and how we should sound like. But actually taking a moment to just really see yourselves and see everything, your flaws, your imperfections, your beauty, your power, like all of it, I think is so beautiful. And that's when the feminine rises beyond anything else, beyond any of our shadows, beyond any of the tools that we try to use to try to get ahead. It's like, this is just the real me. And when you can show up after that mirror work or after practicing this, you just have this like, this breath of fresh air when people look at you, because they're like, damn, like she's not hiding from herself. And because she's not hiding from herself, she's not hiding from me. And I trust her. And then I want to work with her because she sounds like she knows she's comfortable in her own skin. And that's magnetic.
Beautiful. I think in the end, that's what it comes down to, right? Is showing up as who you are. Nothing more, nothing less, without hiding, without pushing, just showing yourself as you are, which sounds easy, but it's not necessarily easy. Yeah.
And on the journey of trying to look who we think, like being just me, sometimes that gets contrived into like, but me needs to look like this. That's why I like working with the brand archetypes, because you have different flavors. And I'm not just saying work with 3, work with 5, work with 8, because those are energies that flow through you and just following those impulses.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I remember that time, like for me, where I suddenly felt my inspiration, wanted to post really edgy posts. Like I would post myself covered in my blood and my face, and then my personality would go like, really? Am I really going to post that? But actually it felt so true, and it helped me to become more comfortable with all of me and to show more of all of me to the outside world, you know? So
I love that about you, that you did that before we even worked together. I was like, this woman is amazing. And I think that's another one of your archetype, like kind of the wild woman, you know?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. Beautiful. Let's see. Is there anything, because we covered now a lot already. We covered the masculine, we covered the feminine in business. And you actually offered some really beautiful tools, because you now offer the tool of doing the mirror work, looking in the mirror and just allowing whatever comes, whether it's tears or judgments or joy or just making space for what wants to move. Can we summarize the other practices? Because you named a few, the archetypes.
So starting from the feminine, it was the mirror work, seeing what comes up, noticing what's there, being present, as you beautifully said. From the masculine side of things, that was the brand archetype, seeing which archetypes like resonate with you and how does she show up? How does he show up? And just feeling into that and seeing like these are and writing about them, maybe even drawing a photo of what she looks like, when she wants to show up, what she likes, etc. Getting really playful with that. Another side of the business was getting really clear on your client's desires and really writing down like what they said and feeling if that's in integrity with you, because that will really help with clarity in your message instead of talking about just the tools, the how. Well, people care more about the why, the passion, the desire. That really, yeah. And then the final piece was the mindset piece, which is it's all about having fun, right? How do you have fun with also some of the dark thoughts or the shadows that are coming up, and how can you play with it? And writing down on one side of the paper, stalking your language for 24 hours and just seeing what's coming up around a launch, around an offer, around your social media, etc., or around your life, basically. And then on the other side of the paper, writing a different belief. Maybe you can have fun and go kinky, or you can write something that's more positive or something that feels good or something that's more loving, right? It doesn't only have to be kinky. It's just a fun way of playing with it. And I recommend the book. I wrote it down, Existential Kink.
Yes, we'll put the title and the writer below this video. I always have one piece that I would love to ask you around, because you named this piece of the desires of your clients. And I feel curious about that sweet spot between what our soul really wants to offer to the world and what clients are longing for. Because I also sometimes see that women can come out of alignment because they want to meet too much what the clients are longing for, and actually our soul wants to give something else. And maybe there's also women that feel like, oh, they're so in connection to what their soul wants to offer, but nobody seems to want it, to say it very black and white. Is there something that you can share about your experience with finding that sweet spot?
Yeah, I think that's so beautiful. And I see a lot of women also looking for that sweet spot and just wanting clarity around that. So what I've seen is, I think a lot in the spiritual feminine business realm, people are always like, if it's not in alignment, don't do it. You have to follow your soul's purpose. And that is 100% true. You have to listen to yourself. And at the same time, you are a business. You are a real business. As a real business, we must have clients coming in. We have money coming in. Otherwise, it's not considered a business, right? There needs to be some exchange, some movement. Of course, you can do barter deals and you can do different things as well. But in terms of like a real business, what I've seen work really well is taking in mind about 50%, granted, I'm giving just numbers, but 50% feeling like, okay, this is really what I want to do. And also hearing feedback from potential clients saying, this is something that I would like to buy. Then you can be more at ease because you're like, okay, like this is something that people want. And I really like it, right? It doesn't, sometimes I feel like people think I have to sell business or I just want to do pleasure, right? This is the thought that I had for the longest time. I'm a business coach, but I'm also a sex, love, and relationship coach. And I was like, how do I bring the two worlds together? And sometimes for a long time, it took me, I was like, I didn't know how to do it. And then I found the common thread. And then I found for me how confidence and self-pleasure really helps women feel into their business and really show up as their fullest self so that they can carry out their life's work. And so I think sometimes it takes time to figure out like, what's the common thread? What I've noticed is when you just go for what you think people want, you always fall short and then you don't show up for your launch, right? You're always like, oh, and then it feels like a task, a chore.
Yeah, I was just feeling into that because I love the piece where you bring in like the sweet spot of what clients want. And I do feel that maybe it doesn't have to be a 50-50, but maybe it's 100 and 100 somehow.
Better put, yes.
Kind of like it becomes this 1 + 1 is 3 type of thing.
Love
Because
that.
and I also feel that in you, and I feel that in me, and I feel that in so many women, that it doesn't mean we have to compensate on what our soul really wants to offer to the world. But sometimes it might be in the translation. Sometimes it might be that like getting more clear on what becomes available in the clients, because maybe we are oversharing about the techniques or, about our dreams instead of really tuning into how am I translating this to my potential clients. So I think then maybe instead of it becoming a 50-50, it becomes a 100 meets 100 kind of.
Yeah, like synergy is expanded. Yeah, I totally feel that. Right, 50 sounded like, no, that should not be. But yeah, I love it.
I understand what you meant though. But I think it maybe like to get the confusion out that it doesn't mean a compensation on what feels true to your soul. Yeah, because I do feel that we can stay 100% true to our soul and have the right translation of our work so that our clients understand what we're doing and what we're bringing.
Because a lot of the times we follow our soul's passion and we get so carried out and in the passion and the desire and the excitement, and we forget like exactly how to translate that. And then we think, oh, this isn't enough. It's too much. It's too niche. It's too much what I like. And it's like, no, that's the energy that people want. People want you to know it. That's people buy confidence
and your unique vibration, right? Because that's also what I find when I work with my coaches or when I go to a training. It's that vibration that pulls me in, not necessarily, or maybe in combination with the techniques, but not necessarily the techniques. It's the vibration that someone comes from that usually attracts me in. Yeah.
It's everything. It's everything. Like I've worked with a lot of healers that have certain tools that I thought I was going in for the tools, but it was always because I was like, I like, you're so into it. I like that you're the living embodiment of it.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much. Do you feel, are there any final things that you want to share, or do you feel like, any final thing you want to offer to the women that are watching now?
Yeah, I just wanted to share that a lot of the times we feel like, when we even dip our finger in the masculine, it has to all be about the masculine, or when we go into our feminine, it has to all be about the feminine. I feel like as new paradigm leaders, we're just trying to figure out this balance. And I feel like once you understand both and you're able, and it takes time, right? Like just to be gentle with yourself and to ease on into it and be like, okay, where am I too much in my feminine? Where am I too much in my masculine? How do I create more of a balance? How do I create more clarity? And things just unravel. Like I have to say, every new paradigm leader that I meet, I'm just like, thank God you're here. Thank God you're here. The world needs your magic. Yeah, don't give up by the nitty gritty of the follower numbers or getting so lost in the feminine. Like there's so much for you to do. So I would invite you to do the practices that we mentioned here today. And yeah, definitely reach out if you have my social media handle, if this resonated with you, or if you feel like, yeah, this was amazing. Like I'd love to hear anyone how to shift. So yeah, sending you all so much love. Thank you, Nicole. It's such a pleasure to speak with you as always.
Yeah. And I also want to just take a moment to touch upon your free gift, because you have a free gift for the women called Your Self Pleasure for Receiving. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yes, I would love to. So that is a beautiful meditation that I have created in order, and that's more of the mindset piece, the 20% mindset piece. So that's mixing that in with the feminine 50% piece. So that's that. And so a beautiful part of mindset practice that really helps me and has helped a lot of even famous athletes, like a lot of people do this, is to visualize what it is that you want and then to allow your feminine to receive. I feel like so much of being an entrepreneur is we feel like we have to do and go get it because we're alone in many ways with our business. And so actually to feel like you can be in receptivity, like you are divinely supported. The universe and the world like wants you to enjoy your business and wants you to have pleasure with it. And so that's tapping you into a new frequency where you can feel more pleasure, self-love, confidence, and to really feel your unique essence as you spiral upwards. And so I wanted to give this gift because it's really from my heart. It's a way for you to feel your body, feel your magic sauce. So from there, you can show up and really have clarity on what you want to bring.
Beautiful. So we will put the link to your free gift down below this video so that when women want to journey deeper with you, they can go on that adventure of visualization. And thank you so much for sharing your beautiful work with us today. And thank you so much for your transmission for this world in general. And I want to say to you, beautiful woman, may it strengthen you in your confidence, in your clarity, and in your direction for your mission and purpose. I send you much love and see you soon. Did you receive any inspiration, motivation, or powerful breakthroughs by listening to this episode? Then please share this episode by taking a screenshot and tagging me in your stories at nicole.nyima.costerus. I would love to celebrate you, share you in my stories, and it would mean so much to have my work reach more powerful, passionate women like you. Thank you so much, and looking forward to see you next week.